no bounty hunters, no Ray Lowe's, no Ray Nobodies, no uh, Adam Driver fans. We don't like him here. No Pablo Hidalgo apologists. Come on, Kojak, come house. Just got him back from a walk, so he's done for a while. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about what's been going on with all this. So, Doomcock actually announced this latest revelation, and I have not yet, not yet, looked to see what WDW Pro wrote, because I've been doing something else. I, yours truly, have been trying to find the interview where Taika Waititi says Lucasfilm is restructuring. I don't know where my movie sits. Now, lately he's talked more about it. But what did that mean in the context of the timeline? See, this is the thing. I went and looked at a lot of stuff out there while I was, we were going to Cabela's today. We drove to Hamburg, Pennsylvania, and went to the it's literally the biggest outdoor store in the United States. And we just wandered, and it was fun. And when I had a salad, grilled chicken salad at Chili's, and then came back and took the dog for an exceptionally good walk. So I literally have, about 70 steps before I get to 10,000 today, so I'm happy. But on the way there, hey Dave, oh yes you can. And we did, and it was fun. But yet again, the Colt Defender, which is a 1911, but it's a shorter barrel. It's 4.5 inches, 4 inches, and it's a concealed carry gun. That gun has eluded me. It has eluded me, and I want one really, really bad. I know we could order one, but I want to pick it up, look at it, mess with it, and all that, stuff. So anyway, but here's the deal. Here's what what I did is I looked for that article, and I know I saw it on Star Wars Direct or Bounding Into Comics or comicbook.com or CBR, wherever. And I can't find it, but it was an interview, and it was from, I think, before we found out that Dave Filoni had been given, basically got his promotion. And Waititi said, because I remember reporting it, and stupidly I didn't take screenshots. Waititi said, I don't know where my Star Wars film is at. This is all paraphrasing, but I remember this very well, because Lucasfilm is restructuring. He didn't say Disney. He said Lucasfilm. Now, I have a theory that that was taken down. Okay, someone told whoever wrote that to either change it or take it down. But he said Lucasfilm, and I'm still looking for it. So if you guys come across it, put a link in the community, okay, underneath the latest posting in the community, okay. Hey John 42, hey Troy, hey Dave, hey everybody in the chat. So I'm like, looking for this, but it's really interesting. Around the last part of June, a bunch of stories came out saying with Disney restructuring, everything's pointing to Kennedy leaving. Okay. May I remind you in one of the previous videos Doomcock put out there that we would be getting these rumors. Okay. I have a timeline now. It was Inside the Magic of all places, and Rebecca Barton, that wench, posting that. All right. It has been everywhere. The idea that Kennedy's leaving, now she's staying. See, there's something not right here. Okay, there's something not. The only thing that makes sense is these things came out after Harrison Ford got hurt. And they've had to push back filming Indy 5 so he would have a chance to heal. They literally are just getting back to filming this month. They've taken most of August off, and they were supposed to be done filming this month. My thing is, if WDW Pro is right, and his record is okay, but it's a record of someone guessing, all right? None of us are going to have a perfect record. Look at Mike Sutton's record. Go to Geekosity. Look at all of his scoops and see how many were actually right on the ball. All right? None of these people are getting any, ooh, you're right. No. Why? Why? Because frankly, in looking at everything from the 30,000 foot view, I don't think any of us know what the hell we're talking about. All right? We really don't. The closest one, I think, is Cameron. But I don't see how keeping Kennedy there helps Disney and JPEG in the long run. And for the simple reason, the optics are bad. The optics are bad. I mean, and look, you know, there are people I think that still give her kudos because they don't want to run, they're in the business and they don't want to run afoul of her. I understand that. No, they didn't. I mean, Sutton's rationality of the $1 billion from, you know, the only movie she's made in the last 3 years that made $1 billion, and it barely crossed the line. Barely was The Rise of Dipshit. Okay, other than that, it's like, you know, I don't see Mortimer Buckley, Larry Fink, and Ron O'Hanlon, and Cyrus, whose last name I can't pronounce. Because I don't have it. Oh, yes, I do. Cyrus Taraporevala, all going, yes, yes, she's earning us money. We, who are the top investment bankers on the entire planet and who are part of the Disney cabal of investors and the number one honchos, want that bitch here. No, I don't see them doing that. And the reason is that movie didn't earn $1 billion. That movie barely crossed $1 billion. And I would bet you $1.5 grand it cost $400 million to make. Now you see where I'm going? So they can sit there and, you know, poop all over whatever and say, oh, blah, blah, blah. No, 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 no. I don't see it. And that really, I mean, when that was reported and I read it, I almost started laughing. I mean, I literally, you know, I started laughing. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. And it's not something that I don't think a business, a contract lawyer would. No, they haven't. They can say they have because they only are looking at gross. And I'll tell you, if you say, yeah, it has, and you're a shell, an SJW, a Kennedy defender, or someone who hates her guts, but has decided that nothing good happens and that she'll never leave, and we have them in our thing. You can say that, but it doesn't make it true. You understand? Because it's not true. It's a rationalization. You know, and I understand why some people want to continue with her made-up mythology because it's good for their reputation, it's good for their career. I have no problem with being brutally honest with her. Okay. This is the timeline. Last summer, I believe, 2018. Now, let's go way in the Wayback Machine. You guys all remember this. I know Dave will. You remember the story of the argument. The board of directors, they had Lucasfilm, California, which would be the Burbank Studios, and Lucasfilm, San Francisco headquarters, and Lucasfilm, England, London, and it was a conference call. Bob Iger, John Lasseter, whom the big conference call. There was more than one, too, by the way, Dave. There was more than one. Big conference call. John Lasseter was sitting in on it, and so was Kevin Feige. And it was fucking crazy. Craig broke that story before Grace Randolph did. So he told me in private, and I was like, and that was immediately after other people were talking about it too. That was immediately after Solo came out and crashed and burned. Okay. All hell must have broke loose. Pablo disappears from the net for a few months and then he comes back. But somewhere in that, he got his hand slapped. I'm going to tell you what happened. The restructuring of Lucasfilm and all this shit started then. You remember the rumors. Doomcock, if you're listening, say something in the chat. Valiant Renegade, if you are. Mikey, if you are, whatever. There were rumors of her shopping herself around, of Disney offering the presidency of Lucasfilm to J.J. Abrams. Christopher Nolan, and others who were not named. All of a sudden, no. No one was going to come in. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And they didn't fire him. I mean, it's like, for all we know, he's not been at Lucasfilm for a long, long time. And it's like, but, okay. So, he disappears from the net about September during the Justice Kavanaugh hearings. Chuck Wendick, notice I said Wendick, it was, but we were hoping against hope that she would just go away. Like the earth would swallow her up and she'd never be seen again. Wendick gets fired from doing the Vader comic because of the horrendous things he was saying about Justice Kavanaugh and Trump supporters. The man is clinically insane, okay? That happens. Then, Kennedy is quietly, almost under the radar till no one notices, re-signed to another multi-year deal. Dear Bob Iger, you are a stupid motherfucker, okay, to be doing these deals with these assholes. I would have given her 1 year, take it or leave it. at the outside a year and a half. Hey, Darth Haster, so we're all like, then, meanwhile, while all that's going on, The Mandalorian and Jon Favreau is announced working with Dave Filoni. Little did we realize that this was where the restructuring of Star Wars and the change of directions was starting, and it started in 2018. Mandalorian comes out in 2019. The Rise of Skywalker's filming is a disaster. The idea that they'd film a scene and then have it edited literally after they filmed it on the set. We get a story coming out that they had an assembly cut. JJ showed the suits, and the one that freaked out was Kennedy because she didn't get a Raylo kiss and all the rest of that shit. And remember to, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It helps the algorithm, and they have shadow banned me. Okay, and it's getting worse, actually. I am literally going. And then we had the rumor, because Craig was talking about this as the movie was being filmed, if y'all remember, because it was filmed, started in 2018, right? Yeah. 2018, that George Lucas had written scenes for it. He actually came and directed some. And the assembly cut was the stuff that he did, and Kennedy wanted it all gone. So it sounded to me that JJ put up a feeble fight and basically said, this movie is written and directed by Disney and Lucasfilm. Okay. Basically, fuck you to Kennedy on that. That's a rumor that was on Reddit. Is something I kind of believe, because I have this on, I saved this. They were being interviewed, the cast was being interviewed in Japan. And the interviewer brought up George Lucas. And the cast went, and then they all went, and they all looked at JJ, and JJ looked like he wanted to cry. We are going to hear about something really bad that went on. Okay. And by the way, I've been doing some digging into George Lucas. He is not a guy to fuck with. Okay. He has a reputation of coming back and getting revenge. Okay. I am not kidding. He's dark side big time. He's Palpatine. Rise Skywalker comes out, dumpster fire. Barely limps across the line at $1 billion. And I don't think it made $1 billion. I think they said it did. They want to make sure, they want to make it look like it did. Okay. But that's bullshit. Then we get this weird thing with Steven Spielberg walks away from Indiana Jones 5. Now, you could bring up any reason why he didn't like the script. They don't want to kill Indy. They're not going to kill Indy. But, any kind of bullshit fanboy theory that'll come out. I would too, John. I'd love to see him go Vito Corleone on him, actually. Not for them, Darth. Not for them. He's... Let me finish what I'm saying. Let's go back, because I'm going to keep repeating myself on this. Who didn't show up to the Rise of Skywalker premiere? I watched it. Harrison Ford showed up. Billy D. Williams, of course. Others. George Lucas didn't show up. Steven Spielberg walks away. And I'm going to tie that up in a nice little treat in a minute. Then we get the stupidity of the Leslie Headland thing. No, they're not. Don't. Harrison Ford won't let them do that. They're going. They're. We get this Leslie Headland thing. And Disney, I mean, Kennedy went over the heads of the Bobs to get Leslie Headland. She didn't tell them this. This is why when you look at the announcement, there's about 3 lines about the acolyte. Everything else is Taika Waititi and something else. Okay, go on further. Yeah, well, yeah, I remember that. Then this December, and we start hearing rumors of this going on and that going on. You know, I have to go back and look. This December, Luke Skywalker shows up. And Momita Sengupta in January just appears. She's the head of, what do they call that? Logistics, or basically she's a bean counter. Okay. Then Luke Skywalker shows up. Pablo Hidalgo makes an ass of himself attacking Star Wars Theory. Makes a public apology, tries to call Star Wars Theory. Star Wars Theory told him to fuck off. And then we get Gina being told, we no longer want you working with us at Lucasfilm. And it was done above the heads of the Bobs and above, without basically telling the Bobs or Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. All right. This is where it starts to fall apart for Kennedy. You've got the YouTube Academy Awards video of her getting ratioed into fucking oblivion. I mean, Darth Vader's like, I told you, no disintegrations. Poof, it's gone. That was a nuclear, that was like a 50 megaton nuclear bomb. Okay. That was a big wake-up call. Okay. You get every video on that channel getting ratioed over Kennedy. You get Star Wars channel getting ratioed. Everything too, even people stupidly going after the Bad Batch. And then Gina's interview with Ben Shapiro, which she came off like a very nice, decent, normal person, and made the bullies at Lucasfilm look like assholes. This has been a disaster. It's a PR nightmare. It's a PR nightmare that can't even be quantified. Okay. Then we get the phone calls into the first earnings meeting, and one guy asking when is Kennedy being fired, and one guy asking about Gina. Basically, Chapek said absolutely nothing. If you look at what he said nothing. And I guarantee you he was pissed off about all that. Okay. Then we get the Forbes article about Gina and Disney, aka Lucasfilm, mismanagement. Then we get the Variety article, bruised egos and all the rest of the stuff. And then we get, oh God, there's another article too. We get the Variety article. We suddenly find out that Dave Filoni has been basically number 3 at Lucasfilm, probably for a year almost. weird way to celebrate a guy's promotion. And he is literally over everybody's head, which is a good thing. Then we get the Atlantic article, we get Business Insider. We get the Atlantic article, basically saying, not directly saying Kennedy is a failure, but directly implying she is, and basically saying Jon Favreau is the future of Star Wars. Okay, and then we start getting all these rumors that she's not going to be renewed, that she's been begging to be renewed. In fact, the last one that came from Doomcock was she went back in a last-ditch effort to get her contract renewed and extended, and Disney said no. And now we got Mike Sutton, without anything that substantiates his rumor, and WW Pro with nothing there too, basically being Pete and repeat here. I wouldn't doubt that the same people Sutton talked to are the same people that WW Pro talked to. This is really bizarre. Okay, now, the evidence can point to her getting a short extension. With Indy 5 filming into the end of October, I could see it. I could see it. Okay. I think Trotsky, when this is all said and done, they won't be in charge anymore. And I think there's a real, this is going to be the last hurrah for them. And you got to remember, those books have been in the making since Bob Iger was the king. Okay? And you're going to see a lot of churning shit coming out from that place until it's gone. They printed 3 EU books in 2015. They were still EU books. Okay? One of my favorites, Honor Among Thieves. Don't hope so, it's true. Don't hope so. It's true. Okay? Too much. You guys always ignore this. All right, Darth, listen to me very carefully. Because you people want to be so upset and miserable. And you're always looking for something to fixate on. Dave Filoni is now the boss. Mohsen Gupta is basically doing Kennedy's other job. Okay? Taika Waititi said, and I'm going to goddamn find that article if it's the last thing I do, that Lucasfilm is restructuring. I don't know where my movie stands. Okay? I need to find that article that said that. I might be getting the Disney quote he had about that too confused, but I swear to God he said something about Lucasfilm. And I wouldn't doubt that the newspapers I've seen that had that quote have changed it. I wouldn't doubt it. But I know he said that. So if you honestly can sit there and say, nothing good is going to happen here, there's nothing going on at Lucasfilm, and you look at the changes that are apparent, and you can still come back with that, I got nothing to say. I mean, I'm presenting you direct evidence. Okay? Direct evidence. What more do you need? What I need is this. And this is where I'm gonna go. Okay, so we're to the point where we've got these contending rumors. Then Frank Oz comes in and basically lambastes in the Guardian Iger's Disney. Iger's Disney. Now, I'm going to tie this in with something else I just said. George Lucas is not a guy to mess with. He's the wealthiest man in the film industry. So is Dave Filoni. He has $10 billion. And he makes, Oprah can sit there and say, I have 3. And I'm like, fine, but he's the guy. And he has been well known to get his pound of flesh out of people that fucked him. Okay? Including his ex-wife, Marcia. That is an ugly story. But, don't fuck with George Lucas. So we got Frank Oz, who's a friend of his, in The Guardian, lambasting Bob Iger. I'm so sorry, my packages. Lambasting Bob Iger. My theory is, and I sent that article to Cameron. My theory is Bob Chapek and probably Bob Iger are the ones that told him and got this thing set up. This is a war on multiple fronts. Kennedy isn't even the big one because, as far as I'm concerned, looking at everything, it's over. But this is my concern here, though. Now, because we don't know where the troublemakers in the story group are in this whole thing. As long as she's there and she has allies there, she will continue to fuck with John and Dave. Now, the new contract can say, you can, do whatever and do this and whatever but you can't mess with John and Dave or anything they're doing, or Star Wars from here on in. Fine. Doesn't mean her allies can't, if they're still there. If they're gone and she's completely isolated, she's there by herself with only Lin-Wen Brennan, the right-hand bitch, there. I have to say, she can't do anything. Now, let me tell you what a figurehead is. A figurehead is someone who occupies a place of ceremony. Period. That's it. The other thing that bothers me, if her allies are gone, or there, if they're there, then she can fuck with things. If they're not, she's stuck. She's just, not just earning a paycheck doing nothing and pretending that she's somebody. It makes everybody look bad. It makes Disney look bad. They're not going to make The Acolyte, Darth. They're not. I'm not going to believe that show's going to be made until they get people out on the ground and cameras start rolling. And I guarantee it won't have a budget. Disney wants those people gone. So this is the thing. It's all about image in Hollywood, perception. What the fans perceive, because I'm going to say this, there are quite a few fans out there that they see her still the head of Lucasfilm, and I can name one. Well, she's president of Lucasfilm. It's like, in name only. In name only. But it doesn't matter because the mental block and stupidity is there, okay? They can't grasp what a figurehead is. Hey, hard work. What are you talking about? What? Okay. Hard work. One of my wrenches, go and get the Lucasfilm leadership thing out, if you can, and put it in the chat. Because I don't know where you're getting, you don't know what Filoni's role is. I really don't. Because he's number 3 now at Lucasfilm. Okay? Nothing can get made creatively without him giving it his blessing. Okay? Go look it up yourself if the guys aren't in the chat. If my wrenches don't do it, then look it up yourself. Okay? So I don't know where you're getting that. Favreau is, for all intents and purposes, a contract showrunner. But I look at that and I say, yeah, that one. Hard work, look at that link, please. And everybody look at that link. That's the, basically the moment I knew that Kennedy was out the door. There's no fucking way she would have ever had Dave Filoni as executive creative director over Rain Roberts and some other bitch. Okay, Rain Roberts, the black woman, the saint, whatever. Thanks, Troy. Thanks, Dave. So that's when I knew that she was done. That no more of this. I gotta get out of the sun. We had a very rainy day today. So I'm gonna go over here. Oh, my ugly houseplants. And there, better. So that's when I knew. But again, it's perception, as Hard Work said. By her nature of being there. And I'm going to tell you something. The fans that bitch and moan the most are the ones that follow it just as close. They're just not bright. They're not the sharpest knives in the drawer. And you can tell them, all right, here's a question. Who is the leader of England? I guarantee you that the same people would say Queen Elizabeth. No, she's not. It's Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister. Britain has not had a ruler, monarch like that as, God, in the last, 400 years? All right, constitutional monarchy. And she is a figurehead. And if Kennedy gets a 1-year extension so she can go off on her own and retire and all this, in a grand parade down Main Street, USA, if she gets that, she's done. So when I tell people, let not your heart be troubled, I mean it. I mean, let me explain something. If her contract is extended, but she's not doing anything, she can't touch anything, I'm gonna get shit. Doomcock is gonna get shit. And the usual suspects who have caused Doomcock enormous amounts of bullshit are gonna get shit. Midnight's Edge is gonna get shit. We're gonna have the great Mangold Slayer on there acting like, well, I'm really sorry to say this, and all the bullshit he says. I worked in Hollywood 12 years ago. Really? Think it might have changed? Think it might have changed since you've been there? And you speak with such authority? Give me a fucking break. You can't do that and make me go. Again, I can't talk about what goes on in Capitol Hill with any authority now because I have not worked there in DC and on the Hill since 2002. And then I went to the administration and then I got married. Okay, so all my contacts have been gone a long time. All right, You'd be surprised how your network dries up. I have a friend who spent a year working with the State Department in Iraq. He came back and he had no network. None. They were all gone. They were all in different places, or they left politics, or whatever. That's how quick it moves. You have, let's say, like, you have presidential administration, and your Secretary of State for 2 years decides after 2 years they want to go and be a professor, adjunct professor at Harvard or something. Okay, that's what happens. Okay, the jobs change. It is just like Hollywood. So your perception and what you saw 10, 15, 20 years ago is not what it is now. Let me explain something. It's not what it was in 2018. Okay? 2018 at the height of the Me Too thing. All right? Then we got, the riots and everything. And, let me explain something. There's no bigger chicken shit in the whole wide world than a Hollywood executive. Okay? Cameron told a story that they were about ready to give the woke shit the heave-ho, and all these riots started. The Antifa marching through Beverly Hills and shit. And other places. And it's like, you guys, first off, are partially responsible for this shit. All right, by your stupid politics. Second of all, it's only a very small segment of the population that thinks those guys are cool. The rest of us all would prefer to see them nuked from orbit, okay? So the chicken shit factor in Hollywood is, in my opinion, off the scale. It just is. Okay, that's just the way it is. My opinion is a lot of the stuff that they wanted to do last year, which would probably, we would not be talking still about Kennedy now, I believe. They've had to put off to this year. And the COVID thing and the uncertainty and the lack of box office has really fucked everything up too. But that does not mean that Disney is not going into Lucasfilm and scrubbing it with bleach. I don't believe that they aren't, because these two people, Moslin Gupta, who the hell is she? She came over from Netflix. And Dave Filoni, who, white man, horrible. Guess what? He's the boss now, okay? You can't do anything at Lucasfilm creatively without him going, And then you got Kennedy and Lin-Wen Brennan isolated. Are they isolated? And this is why I need to have some concrete, direct evidence that the story group and Pablo's employment at Lucasfilm is an indication of what's going on. This is what I think. Pablo's done. Rain Roberts, developing The Acolyte with Leslie Forehead. She's probably not going to be there. You could reduce her to contract player and then, gun for hire and then kick her out. A lot of people that have been really bad. And I would bet $1, I bet $1,000 that Filoni and Favreau know who the bad eggs are. Okay, so September, October are the months when you see executives leaving. you see layoffs happening. This is when companies look at their budgets and start shedding fat. Under the guise of shedding fat. But I need to know if some of these people are gone, and most especially Pablo, because he was the instigator against Gina. He was the one that caused all this shit with the fans for the last almost 10 years now. He's the one that befriended Steele Saunders and Jason Ward. There was an article about him, and I'm going to go find it, about why he should not be anywhere near Star Wars and why he should not be working at Lucasfilm. And I'm going to find it, and I'm going to do a video on that. Because if he's gone and no longer has any power over any of this, if you're watching other people's contracts run out, if you're watching Disney basically tell the High Republic dudes, we're not going to be pushing this anymore, if you see it kind of fade, and I think it has, I haven't noticed, nobody sent me any videos, I haven't gone to look, and I'll tell you something else. You know who else hasn't shown up? That Star Wars show? Andy Gutierrez and that weirdo freak guy that she does her show with. I want you to dwell on that one a little bit. That is something no one has talked about. But I have not seen her or that show on StarWars.com or their channel here on YouTube in a long fucking time. In fact, the last time I saw her, I swear to God, was the Rise of Skywalker premiere. And she was another instigator attacking fans with her fanboy tears mug. My sympathy for people like that doesn't exist. I remember after the Luke Skywalker Red X incident came out, and we found out it was outside the cubicle of the black social media manager. So let's give him a parade because he's black and probably gay because I saw a picture of him. So, 2 SJW points. Wow, really? Who cares? She was on Twitter trying to be a victim because when she was a kid she had cancer. All right, when I was 19, I almost died of streptococcal pneumonia and respiratory distress syndrome. Okay? And if you've gone through shit like that, maybe you should have a little more wisdom about how you live your life. Okay? Maybe you should be a little more discerning. Maybe you should understand why people are pissed off. Maybe you could see what's going on and say, this is bullshit. These people don't like this. I am not going to be part of this. I, in fact, am going to go to the boss and complain about it, which is what I would do. Not that the boss would ever listen, because she didn't care. But at least you stuck up for the right thing. This is the thing, okay? There are people that have not been heard from. And Andy Gutierrez is one of them. That social media manager is gone. They had a new social media manager who was looking to attack fans. Hired that person, and I think that person disappeared because she was directly connected to rewriting Ripley. Okay? Thank you. There are things that people aren't talking about, that they haven't noticed. You cannot tell me, look me right in the eye and actually make me believe you believe there's nothing going on at Lucasfilm, or that Kennedy hasn't been diminished, or that she's out the fucking door. She can still have her name on the shingle and not and set foot in that office ever again. Okay? That's how this works. That's how this works. Okay? And we're not, again, going to know anything, even if we do get a little blurb, a press release from Variety saying Bitchy McBitcherton has been given a 1-year extended contract. The usual suspects will do their happy dance, that they get 1 more year of suffering and misery, and the rest of us are going, she's gone in 6 months. At the outside 10. She's not going to last out this contract. The only reason why she's got this 1-year extension is because they want to give her her soft golden parachute landing with all the accolades and all the fucking bullshit. Okay? All right? And, I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to let you guys go. Hollywood knows she's not this person that she says she is. Again, she has a made-up mythology that she has made up around her. Yesterday, I talked about, it was in the Washington Post, and I read this article about her, and I was stunned. She was at the D.C. airport, Dulles. God, if I had ever seen her, I wouldn't have known who she was back in the day when I was living there. Oh, yeah, that's her fault, too. That is her fault, too, Dave. She was approached by a girl while she was in the gate, and the girl was just gushing over her, saying, "Oh, we just love to accept a Woman in Media award," or some shit like that, like she'd broken some glass ceiling. And I'm like this. What the fuck am I reading? And I guarantee you, I got something in my eye now. I guarantee you that the person who wrote that article has never heard of Alice Guy Berchet, or whatever her last name was. She started a movie studio. She came to the United States with her husband from France. He was British. They came from France, and went to Fort something in New Jersey to start their movie studio. Over 100 years ago. And not only was this woman the first for a woman to actually run a studio, she was also the very first person, period, to direct a movie, I think. These people wouldn't know who she was. They don't give any props to Lucille Ball. They don't give any props to Dawn Steele or Sherry Lansing, who's still alive, and all the rest of this stuff. And they bitch and moan about the boys club. I wouldn't. It's really funny. When I watch Lucy talk about Hollywood, you never hear her bitch about the executives. Ever. That's what kind of woman she was. And there were dozens of women who were directors and producers. I think it was Mary Pickford, or was it? No, it wasn't Mary Pickford. Oh, who was it? I can't remember. One of the biggest silent film stars. And when I turn this off, I'll remember. Lillian Gish was so powerful, she had the right to pick her own directors. Okay? All right? I am so fucking sick of this mythology built around a woman who has never done or been successful on her own that I can't anymore. Okay? If you want to sit there and say she's the most powerful woman in Hollywood, go. Fine. Do it. But I know she's not. And I know that behind the scenes, the people that know who she is and have to work with her know she's not too. This is why This shit is happening. And I'll tell you when it happened, for sure. When Steven Spielberg said, I am not directing Indy 5, I will be an executive producer. That's it. Okay? And the rationalizers out there can say whatever they want. But that moment told me that he is pissed off at Kennedy. And I wouldn't doubt it at all. Troy and I talked about this. And if Cameron's watching, great. I wouldn't doubt it that not only did George okay, Dave, and Bob Chapek were part of the Frank Oz thing. I wouldn't doubt that Steven Spielberg was part of that. I'm going to do more research into George Lucas, but I'm going to leave you guys with this. If you fuck with George Lucas, you are going to lose. And that is the bottom line. And I think when he did not show up for The Rise of Skywalker, it confirmed the rumor that was on Reddit, that Doomcock had, that he was, and that Craig talked about, that he had filmed and written stuff for The Rise of Skywalker that probably at least would have made it a better movie than it was. Because not even he could save the trilogy. Because he had to be involved deeply, beginning to end, and he wasn't. And when that assembly cut went up, oh, he does. He does. And, you know, you can sit there and say, well, Frank Marshall's caught in the middle. He is caught in the middle. In fact, for all I know, their marriage is convenience now. He's a nice guy. He seems like a decent soul. The fuck is he doing with her? I have a lot of questions about things like that, though. So, I don't. There are things I don't understand about men. Anyway, Lucas got screwed, and it was Iger and Kennedy that did it. Kennedy just allowed it all to happen, pretending to be blissfully unaware of the bullshit that was cascading down the hill. But I guarantee you, when this is over, and we are going to find out what really happened, because somebody's going to write a book. Anyway, this is Steph, signing out. I'll see you guys around the galaxy. Behave, be well. Doomcock tonight, pop culture breakdown, and I'll be there in the chat. Talk to y'all later.